Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got a very interesting knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the premium Miguron Moyarl in titanium, contoured textured titanium, and hand-rubbed satin finished M390. This is arguably Miguron's greatest creation. My favorite budget knife from Miguron is the Moyarl. The Moyarl is one of my favorite budget knives of all time, and they've chosen to turn it into a premium knife, which is a good idea for people who just want something a little bit extra. I'm going to say a lot of nice stuff about this knife. It is priced right where you would expect it to be. If you're familiar with these materials, this section of the knife world, I'm going to link it down below. It does absolutely help my channel when you use those links in the description, but that's entirely up to you. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me. Thanks to Miguron for sending this knife in for me to take a look at and share with everybody. And please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. Something interesting here, just before we get started. They actually did a hand rub satin finish on this, which is a nice touch, right? So the first thing you might notice when you go and check the prices, it's slightly higher than other premium Miguron models that they've released. But that's a nice finish, and it does cost more to do, right? I absolutely prefer this finish over the typical machine belt satin finish. I think it looks so much better. So I think that's neat that they decided to do this. It is essentially exactly what I want it to be. There's a couple of nitpicks. A lot of people are going to find my nitpicks trivial, but stick with me and I'll tell you all about it. Let's go ahead and do a measurement before I forget. If you're familiar with the Moyarl, it's the same thing. It's just titanium and M390, and it's a frame lock. Overall length is coming in at 7.5 inches. This knife is deceptively, well, not deceptively small. It's bigger than it actually appears when you measure it, right? And when you hold it in your hand, it feels like an 8-inch knife. It's 7.5 inches. Blade length is coming in at roughly 3.25. Cutting edge is about 2.85. Size comparisons. Let's put it up against any custom scales you find in this section can be found down in the description under Original Goat and Others. The 8010 and the 8020.5. Very close to the 8020.5 in overall size. In fact, I think it's exactly the same overall length. And the cutting edge is also pretty much identical with your primary ergonomic zones in essentially the same place, though I will say the Moyarl is more comfortable than the 8020.5. Let's go ahead and put it up against the Spyderco PM2 and the Spyderco Para 3. Closer to the size of the Para 3 with more cutting edge. And then finally, let's put it up against the Benchmade Grouptillion, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue and the Hogue Deca. Alrighty, how's the action on this? Sorry, messing up my my voice is messing up there. How is the action? The action's great. It's exactly what you want it to be. They have tuned this properly for a titanium frame lock that uses an opening hole for deployment. It is very easy and very satisfying to deploy with the reverse flick. Very easy and satisfying to deploy with your thumb, and you can also just wheel it open if you don't need to do any of that fancy pants stuff. They've also made sure that you have plenty of access to the lock bar. Very good. This is exactly how they should have done it. I have absolutely no nitpicks with any of this. Everything is just great. Let's do length and height up against the PM2 and Para 3. Or what did I say? Carry profile? Jeez, forgot my thing there. Carry profile up against the Spyderco PM2 and Para 3. It's actually about the same, and it's cool because it's contoured, right? I'm really glad they decided to do that and not just do flat titanium. Length and height now up against the PM2 and Para 3. This is a very comfortable knife to carry, considering it is very nearly what I consider to be a full-size knife. It does feel compact in the pocket without feeling so light that you might forget it's there and wash your pants with your knife in it. Or take your pants off and leave your pants somewhere and forget that your knife was in your pants. Anyways, yeah, it's really just a little bit longer than the Spyderco Para 3, just a hair, nowhere near as tall, right? Materials, like I said, M390 titanium, textured, contoured titanium, full titanium backspacer, and a full titanium pocket clip. Let's go ahead and weigh it. Is it milled out for weight reduction? Yes, it is. The weight on this knife is coming in at 3.67 ounces, considering you have 3¼ inches of blade. Not bad ratios at all, under 4 ounces at full titanium. The balance on this knife is a bit back compared to its budget counterpart because the scales are quite a bit heavier, but it's not so far back that it makes the knife feel awkward. In fact, it feels exactly like what it weighs, a sub 4 ounce titanium frame lock. Let's go ahead and do a hardware check. I'll get out my tools as per usual. My tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my comment section, or I'm sorry, my description. The section of my description that talks about the tools I use on this channel, or the pinned comment in my comment section. Let's go ahead and stick a T8 in there. We definitely have a T8 pivot, and we have T8 body screws, and we have T8 clip screws. We have a T6 lock bar insert screw, but that doesn't matter. There's no reason to take that out. Nope. Don't tell me there's a reason to take out the lock bar insert. There's not. Don't take out the lock bar insert. I mean, it's yours. You do what you want, but realistically, there's no reason to take that out of there. Okay, fantastic. Very easy to take apart and put back together if you so choose. T8 across the board. As long as you have the right tools for the job, you should be good to go. Let's go ahead and measure blade stock thickness real quick, and we'll get it real quick. The word quick has a C and a K on the end. And then we can get into the meat and potatoes here. The blade stock thickness is coming in at 123 thousandths. It's about the same, I think, as the budget version. All right. How'd they do on the premium Moyarl? Wow, they did a really, really great job. It still feels just as ergonomic as the budget versions. And if this is the first time you're seeing the Moyarl, I got a lot of uploads. I handle a lot of knives, right? And I got my own preferences and all of that, but I feel like I'm decent at choosing stuff that other people will like, right? The Moyarl is a very, very good budget knife, the standard version. You can get it in liner lock form, right around $50. You can get it in crossbar lock form, right around $50. That crossbar lock form is also contoured. The liner lock version isn't. And the blade steel is 14C28N, which is what you would want on a knife at that price point. It's very good. So if you're looking at this and you're like, yeah, that's really nice, but listen, like for the money, like I'm not ready to spend that much money on a knife, right? Not everybody is, and some people never get to that point, and that's perfectly fine. Pick up the budget version. I'll have it linked down there in the description as well. It's very, very good. But for those familiar with the budget version and looking to maybe add the premium version to their collection, I'm sure you're watching this video, right? You're one of those, two types of people. You're wondering, how good is it? It's extremely good. It's everything that I did not expect them to do a hand rub satin finish on. I think that's great. Miguron, moving forward, I think you should offer this as an option on all of your premium knives because you guys did an excellent, look at that. That's beautiful. All the lines go in the same direction. Really, really great. Just as great ergonomically as the budget counterparts. Very comfortable. All the edges that could have been sharp on this knife were heavily chamfered, so you don't have any uncomfortable zones. Even with the pocket clip being longer than I would have liked, which I've touched on before, still not that bad. It's really, really comfortable. It's nice to be able to choke up on this knife with a full-size forward choil, so you have plenty of room before you run your finger up on the edge. Plenty of warning, right? Cutting edge is nice and thin for, well, for the geometry that it is. I think it does a pretty good job of accentuating the M390 composition. We have a nice tip, nice belly. We've kept everything off of the blade except for M390 right there. Looks really, really good. The only other accent is really just the blue pivot collar, which is random, but they do that. And honestly, it looks pretty good. So I don't really have a problem with it. They put Miguron on the pivot. It looks good, right? This is all great. This is not going to be a long review, and truthfully, I'm going to recommend it. At $209, I think it's competitive. I think it's nice. I think they've executed this well. The confusing thing is, and I'm not going to get the other Moyarls out. I'm just going to tell you. Let's start off with the original Miguron Moyarl. Flat G10 scales, milled out on both sides for the pocket clip, so left and right-handed carry. Right-handed liner lock only. The second version, you have also a budget version of the Moyarl, but it's got a crossbar lock. That's an ambidextrous locking system. It's contoured. Great. But they mill it out for right-handed people only. That's a head scratcher. Now we have a right-handed frame lock, and it's only milled out for right-handed people, which is even more of a head scratcher. What is going on? Now, listen, I can understand the obvious, the thing that the knee-jerk reaction is, well, it's beautifully contoured and textured. They didn't want to take away from this beautiful texturing by milling out a space for a filler tab. All right. The answer to this, so many companies do this, create a wraparound nested pocket clip that sticks into the back of the scales, right? You can have one screw working to do that, right? And you know what? You've already got a screw in place. The screw that you needed to have in this position, you just needed it so badly, we had to move the pocket clips down and add 2 more screws for it. You got an answer to this across the board. Use this screw hole. Wrap the pocket clip around, nest it into the butt of the frame, and attach it just like that. It doesn't need more than 1 screw because the whole back of the clip is nested and housed within the titanium. And then do that on both sides. Then we have nothing different on this side, literally the screw hole. The only difference is back here you'll have slots for the pocket clip to go in, which nobody cares about, right? You don't have to have the pocket clip mounted so low. You can back it up about, I don't know, not 1/4 of an inch, maybe 1/5 of an inch, which will help a little bit. It's not really that big of a deal. And most importantly, lefties can enjoy this. That's my only gripe, right? I'm a right-handed person. If you're like me and you're like, listen, I'm right-handed, Metal Complex, you can shut your yap right now. I'm going to go ahead and pick it up. I don't care. I'm never going to put it in my left side pocket. Hey, that's great. You should. You'll love it. If you're right-handed, right, outside of the pocket clip being mounted a little bit lower than it probably should be, that's such a little nitpicky little thing. This is a great knife. Absolutely excellent. I hope they continue to expand on this because this feels kind of like an origin design. It's very, very good. People like it for the most part. A lot of people are in agreement here, right? And not just because I like it. Believe me, I have plenty of proof on this channel where I love something and the majority of my audience hates it, right? So people don't blindly agree with me. If you're new to my channel, maybe you look at my sub count and think, this guy, whatever he says, people just agree with. No. It's not. My regular commenters and subscribers are probably laughing right now because we don't agree on everything, right? But this is something that a lot of us agree on. It's a good knife. The price is good, right? Quality is good. It's a good knife. The lockup is solid, right? As much as it needs to be for a titanium frame lock. Miguron, yeah, give lefties access. I think you should kick the idea around of creating a version of the Miguron Moyarl in titanium and M390 with a crossbar lock. And if you do that, you need to create mounting positions on both the right and left side. Then you have a truly accessible knife that is premium. You need to do that for your budget version of this too. I don't think it would be that hard to start implementing. That's just 2 holes. You just got to put 2 holes in it, right? But yeah, you should do that. On all of your knives, there should be some way for left-handed people to enjoy and carry them, right? There are answers, right? We don't have to just go, well, the reason that they can't do it is because they have to mill out for a filler tab and that looks ugly and I don't like it. The end. Shut the door. No, it doesn't end right there because we have, 15 years ago, they figured out the solution to that, probably further back, right? This is very good in this configuration. It's excellent. This is a great knife. Huge fan of it. It's going to go in my recommended knives playlist, even though it is a pretty expensive knife. And it's also going to go in my my favorite knives of all time playlist because it's just really good. I love this knife for the look, the size, the ergonomics. It's just great. So it's nice that they did a premium version of it. You can see here, even as a right-handed person, I can manipulate this very easily with my left hand, whether we're talking about like the thumb flick or the reverse flick. I can do it. I'm right-hand dominant, right? So there's no reason that a left-hand dominant person wouldn't be able to enjoy this to nearly its maximum potential. But great, really, really great. Very happy with this. And if you were thinking about buying it, you're on the fence, maybe you were waiting to hear what I thought, which is very flattering. Go ahead, you'll love it. That's it. Doesn't need any more than that. It's already a 15-minute review. We don't need to go on any more. Miguron, good job with this. Start considering left-handed people. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.